World War II was the most destructive war in human history. Many big cities were left in ruins after it ended. Even today, most international politics and global relations can be traced back to this war. You've heard me share many stories from World War II before, but in this video, let's go deep from start to end. What exactly happened? Why did it happen? And what was its impact on the world? This is the story of World War II.
It is difficult to track down one single event that sparked the conflict, for ultimately it was a series of events that conspired together to eventually light the flame of war.
The world's most hated treaty, the Treaty of Versailles, thus starting World War II in 1939.
The whole world is against Hitler and Hitler.
Let's begin the story from 1919, the year when World War I ended and the Treaty of Versailles was signed. This treaty had a very harsh rule, Article 231, which said that Germany alone was responsible for all the losses caused by World War I. This clause was called the War Guilt Clause. France and Britain wanted Germany to pay heavily for the war. So, Germany was forced to pay $33 billion as compensation. That's around $270 billion today. It took Germany almost 100 years to finish paying that fine. The last payment was made in 2010. The German people suffered the most. The first payment was made in 1921. Soon after that, the country fell into hyperinflation. The German currency, the mark, became almost worthless. In 1922, a loaf of bread cost 160 marks. By 1923, the same loaf cost 200 billion marks. The economy completely collapsed and unemployment shot up. In this chaos, a man rose to power, Adolf Hitler. He was a young politician with powerful speaking skills. In 1923, Hitler's party, the Nazis, tried to overthrow the government. The coup failed, but made Hitler very popular. People were angry, poor, and desperate. They needed someone to blame, and Hitler gave them one. He claimed that Jews and socialists were the reason Germany was humiliated. Over the next 10 years, Nazi propaganda spread hate everywhere, through speeches, newspapers, and radio. In 1929, the Great Depression hit the world. Germany's economy became even worse. By 1933, over 6 million Germans were unemployed. Families had no homes, and children starved. That same year, Hitler declared himself the dictator of Germany. Now, he had total control and a dangerous dream to rebuild a German empire, the Third Reich, a state filled only with people of the Aryan race. Hitler believed Jews and Slavic people didn't deserve to exist in his empire. He wanted more land for his superior race, something he called Lebensraum, or living space. By 1935, the world learned that Germany had secretly built an air force, a direct violation of the Treaty of Versailles, which had banned Germany from having any military at all. Surprisingly, Britain didn't stop him. Many British leaders thought the treaty had been too harsh on Germany anyway. So in June 1935, Britain even signed the Anglo-German Naval Agreement, allowing Hitler to rebuild his navy. But France was alarmed. To protect itself, it built a 450-kilometer-long wall called the Maginot Line along its border. By 1938, Hitler felt confident that his army was strong enough. He turned his eyes to Austria, his next target. He wanted all German-speaking countries united under one flag. Hitler pressured Austria's leader, Chancellor Kurt Schuschnigg, to sign an agreement allowing pro-Nazi members into the Austrian government. In just a month, the Nazis took control from within. When Austria's chancellor tried to hold a national vote to stay independent, Hitler sent in his army before the vote could happen. The Austrian government resigned, and without a single shot fired, Austria became part of Nazi Germany. Many Austrians actually welcomed Hitler. They'd been brainwashed into believing he would make their country great. After Austria, Hitler's next target was Czechoslovakia. He first demanded a border region called Sudetenland, claiming it belonged to Germany because 3 million Germans lived there. The British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain wanted to avoid another war. He met Hitler in 1938 and signed the Munich Agreement.
The settlement of the Czechoslovakian problem, which has now been achieved, is, in my view, only the prelude to a larger settlement in which all Europe may find peace.
Giving Hitler the Sudetenland in exchange for his promise of no more wars. Hitler took the land and broke his promise within a year. In March 1939, he invaded the rest of Czechoslovakia. The country was split. Part became German territory, and part became a puppet Nazi state called Slovakia. Now, Hitler looked toward Poland, but he had a problem, the Soviet Union. He didn't want to fight on two fronts. So in 1939, Hitler shocked the world by signing a non-aggression pact with the Soviets. Both secretly agreed to divide Poland between them. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland from the west, and the Soviet Union invaded from the east. Britain and France had finally had enough. They gave Hitler an ultimatum: withdraw from Poland or face war. Hitler ignored them. On September 3rd, 1939, Britain and France declared war on Germany. World War II had officially begun.
A state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
At first, there was no real fighting between Germany and the Allies. This period was called the Phony War. But Poland was quickly crushed. Its army still used horses against German tanks. In just weeks, Poland fell. Hitler's Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, strategy worked perfectly. Fast, surprise attacks using tanks and planes that left the enemy no time to react. German soldiers were even given methamphetamine drugs to stay awake, fight longer, and feel unstoppable, though these drugs destroyed their health later. After Poland fell, Germany took half, and the Soviet Union took the other half, as they had agreed. The Soviets also attacked Finland, trying to push the border further away from Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. The Winter War lasted more than 2 months, and even though the Soviets had a huge army, the Finns fought bravely and lost only 11% of their land. Meanwhile, Hitler wasn't focused on Finland. His next targets were Denmark and Norway. On April 9th, 1940, both countries were invaded under Blitzkrieg. The war didn't last long. Both fell quickly. Britain's Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, was blamed for failing to stop Hitler. He resigned.
I sought an audience of the King this evening and tendered to him my resignation, which His Majesty has been pleased to accept. His Majesty has now entrusted to my friend and colleague, Mr. Winston Churchill, the task of forming a new administration on a national basis.
And Winston Churchill became the new Prime Minister on May 10th, 1940. That same day, Hitler attacked France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. It was a full-scale invasion known as the Battle of France. France had built the Maginot Line because they feared that Adolf Hitler would attack their country. Hitler, however, launched his infamous Blitzkrieg strategy, a lightning-fast military assault combining air and ground attacks. More than 1,000 fighter bombers and around 3 million German soldiers took part in what became known as the Battle of France. The German army was divided into 3 groups, A, B, and C. Group B attacked the Netherlands before moving into Belgium to engage the Allied forces, while Group C attacked the Maginot Line to draw French attention. But it was Group A that carried out the master plan. Their assault on the Maginot Line was merely a distraction so that Group A could secretly invade France through the Ardennes forest, a region the French military believed to be impenetrable due to its dense terrain. Defying expectations, more than 40,000 German military vehicles passed through the Ardennes. On May 15, 1940, they captured the town of Sedan and advanced northward. Meanwhile, the British Army, engaged in Belgium against Group B, was shocked when German forces suddenly attacked them from behind. The Allied soldiers soon found themselves surrounded by Nazi troops on 3 sides. with the sea near Dunkirk as their only possible escape route. This led to one of the most dramatic episodes of World War II, the Dunkirk evacuation. Nearly 400,000 Allied troops, mainly British and French, were trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk. The term Allied referred to the nations fighting against Hitler, while the countries supporting him were known as the Axis powers. Saving these soldiers was crucial, as their capture or death would have been a devastating blow to Britain and France. With no land routes left, the only way out was by sea. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill quickly organized a massive evacuation operation. On May 26, 1940, Operation Dynamo was launched, the largest military evacuation in history. German forces had already reached the beaches and were attacking both from the ground and the air. The situation was dire, yet the evacuation went ahead under heavy fire. Director Christopher Nolan later depicted these harrowing events in his film Dunkirk, which focuses on three key aspects of the rescue: the Royal Air Force's counterattacks that protected the evacuation ships, the civilian boats that crossed the English Channel to aid in the rescue, and the soldiers' struggle for survival on the beaches. By June 4, 1940, nearly 350,000 soldiers had been successfully evacuated from Dunkirk, an extraordinary achievement. However, despite this success, the Allies suffered a major setback. Most of their military equipment had been left behind or destroyed during the operation. Soon after, on June 22, 1940, France surrendered to Germany. Italy's dictator Benito Mussolini had already joined Hitler's side, forming the Pact of Steel. By mid-1940, Hitler controlled almost all of Europe: Austria, Poland, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and France. The only major country still fighting him was Britain. The Soviet Union had a peace agreement with Germany, so Hitler didn't see them as a threat. Yet, the United States also stayed out of the war at this time, because it didn't want to get involved in European conflicts again. If the war had ended here, Hitler would have been the clear winner. But history took a different turn. Britain refused to surrender. As Winston Churchill famously said,
"We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender."